Morning. We're on our way out to the LA Aqueduct. Hikertown wasn't too bad. I heard people say that it was kind of grungy and worn down, and yeah, you know, it's not 4-star accommodations or anything like that, but it worked. It was a bed, it was a roof, it had power. Can't complain. Anyway, we're trying for the entirety of the LA Aqueduct today. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. I've seen videos. I don't think it's going to be quite like everybody else's videos because we have rain in the forecast. 17-mile water carry, but we've done stuff like that before already, so I'm fairly used to it now. So let's get going. So I managed to survive the aqueduct walk. I have to say it was a little weird getting up at 8 o'clock and doing the aqueduct like at noon and not roasting alive. But it wasn't too bad. Could be a little monotonous, but got trail magic partway along the way down. Somebody left some Gatorade out. That was pretty awesome. We're on our way up into the mountains to Tehachapi now. Hopefully we'll be able to zero tomorrow or the next day. These windmills I'm walking along are just absolutely huge. They're pretty cool. But anyway, 100% chance of rain. So let's get moving before we get soaked. Abandon all hope, all ye who enter here. Like it's time to get suited up for the rain. See you at camp. Sitting in my tent at 6,500 feet in the snow. I'll say this is probably the closest I've ever come to being hypothermic. It was raining pretty badly all the way up until we hit this point. Then it decided to start sleeting. Got my tent up, but got quite a bit of water in it, and a lot of my gear got a little wet. So it's not going to be a very fun night. Fortunately, my bag is dry, and I have a set of dry clothes. But yeah, it's going to be a fun night. But tomorrow we're coming down into Tehachapi, so I should be able to dry everything out. I'm not too worried about like freezing in the night or anything like that, but it's just kind of miserable. Anyway, yeah, I'll see you in the morning. Oh, I don't want to put on frozen shoes, but I want to get into town, so at least I have dry socks. Okay, so we made it to Tehachapi. Spent the first night over at the Best Western, and now we're coming back from all of our supplies. So I've got not just my resupply, but Jennifer's resupply in my pack. A bit heavy, but we're planning a 0 here tonight, and then tomorrow it'll be the 8 more miles across the wind farms, and hopefully that's it for the wind. But then it's on towards Kennedy Meadows. Not entirely sure what to make of all this blue sky and warm weather. It's like I came in here into Tehachapi and it was snowing. Now it's nice and warm, a little wind, and a super heavy pack with a bunch of water because it's a long haul to the next water source. But we're back on the trail, so let's get going. I've heard of people slack packing through this section here between Willow Springs and Highway 58. It's about 8 miles, and now I can see why they do it. It's a bit of a pain in the butt with a 7-day resupply and then water for the 8 miles plus the 14 to the next spring. There's supposedly a water cache at Highway 58, but Gut Hooks has made it look like it's pretty iffy. So I'm not going to depend on it, so I'm carrying almost 5 liters of water. Kind of heavy. That's quite the chasm I had to navigate. You can see it started there at the trail. Then they made a second trail, but that got too steep. So they made a third one. Then you had to come back around and go over that. The water has really done a number on the trail this year. Rattlesnakes are far more chill when you're up at elevation. Just chilling there, enjoying the sun. Wish I could do the same, but I got miles to do. Morning. Made the same mistake again and forgot to charge the batteries on my GoPro yesterday. So there was an 18-mile chunk where I didn't really record anything. So we were on the second leg of our water carries. Apparently it's an 18-mile stretch when you leave Tehachapi, followed by another 14 to 18-mile stretch. Apparently, on drier years, it becomes like a 30-some mile carry. But we're fortunate that we have all the water. It's made some of these stretches a lot more bearable. But we're on our way to Lake Isabella, where I will be getting my mattress back because it sprung a leak. Then it sprung 3 more, and sent it into the mattress place to have them either fix it or warranty it. They warrantied it, getting a new one for free, and I gotta go pick it up there. Well, let's get going. kind of nuts. We are less than a week from Kennedy Meadows. It seemed like it was forever ago that we got started, but here we are. Now it's time to probably make a decision. We've been kind of putting it off for a bit, hoping the weather would get better, but we need to figure out what we're gonna do. We could either flip and come back down either from Northern California or try and find a spot in Oregon, but that really is not a pleasing option to me. Another option is to take a week or two off, hope the weather gets a little better, or we can go ahead and try and push on through. I have seen some people already out there, but there's been a lot of stuff on social media of people with frostbitten toes and getting stuck in the storms. Still not sure yet what we're gonna do, so I guess we'll see as we get closer. It's a weird combination of desert scrub and forest. In a way, it kind of reminds me of some of the areas around home, but I'll definitely be happy to get into the Sierras. Hiking through a thunderstorm is actually quite enjoyable when you're not up on a ridgeline. The other benefit is it's been really warm, so everything smells amazing right now. A little bit of rain on us, but it dries off pretty quick. But yeah, I guess we really are getting closer to the Sierras if we're starting to see thunderstorms. It's interesting. We've had some warmer weather, but that means we've been having to pay a little bit more attention to the water carries. And it seems like the section from Tehachapi on is just a series of water carries. It was like 16 miles, then 18 miles, then 14 miles, then 13 miles. So we've had to be a little bit more careful about how much water we take and how much we're drinking. Still grateful that it's not like in the hundreds. I mean, it's only mid to high 70s right now, so it's not horrible, but it's interesting when you've had to go, or when you've gone from like cool and rainy and plenty of water to dry and hilly and not much water. We're on our way to I think it's Bird Springs, which is another water cache, and then from there McIver Cabin, and then down to resupply in Lake Isabella. Let's get going. This is always an exciting part of the hike. We're going to be coming up here on a new view. Wonder what's going to be on the other side. Or are we going to wrap around and it's going to be a false peak? Let's find out. Nope, false peak. But still a pretty cool view. We're gonna go down there and around this. And when I get around that corner, I should see the new view. Lots of cool rock formations on this stretch of the trail. I actually kind of like it despite all of the hills and water carries and stuff. Makes me wonder just what, when we get closer to the Kennedy Meadows and beyond, what it's gonna look like. Besides snow, that is. Finally got my new view. Those mountains in the distance are pretty cool. I think that might be the start of the Sierra Range, despite the fact that there's no snow. But I am looking forward to actually getting to the point where we're in the proper Sierras, seeing them in the distance. This is a novelty. a map that actually shows where we're at. And there's the trail. We go and then on into Kennedy Meadows area. Looks like another thunderstorm's building up. Hopefully it stays away from us instead of on top of us. The last one blew over pretty quick, but still not in the mood to get rained on. A little tired of the rain. We gotta make it over that before that catches up with us. Nature can provide quite a bit of motivation. Seeing quite a bit of actual lightning over there today, which means there actually is a good chance of being on top of an original lightning storm. Something I don't really want to do. Let's get going. This does not make me happy. Got about another 2.5 miles on this ridge and that storm is getting really close. This is probably the most nervous I've been on the trail so far. I don't know entirely what to do, if I'm gonna try and run for it or try and get down. But thunder's rumbling, so it's gonna be interesting. I must say, being on the top of a ridge that seemed to go for like 2.5 miles in a thunderstorm, not my idea of a fun time. That's my fault. I probably should have checked what the trail looked like before I thought I could beat the weather. Fortunately, we came down into a low spot and was able to kind of sit here and ride it out a little bit. It's still fairly ominous, but it looks pretty good for now. We're gonna go ahead and make the run to the cache. That's what's on the menu for breakfast. Pretty good sized climb, and it's easy the rest of the day. Whoever manages those last 2 caches, thank you so much for all the work you guys do. It is really appreciated. It'd be a long dry stretch without it. We're on our way to Walker Pass. Don't know if we'll get the full 23-ish miles today. Might decide to stop in the Khyber Pass, depending on how the rest of the train goes. But yeah, from there it's Lake Isabella and then Kennedy Meadows, and I'll be done with the desert. Kinda nuts to think that. I tell you, those false peaks, I was all excited, thought I got to the top, done 3 miles, 1,600 feet in an hour. Nope, still got more climbing to do. That's all right though. Let's get going. I don't know if you can see that snow-covered mass of mountains in the background there, but I do believe that is the Sierras. And that's where we're heading. It's a lot of snow. Several false starts and a swarm of bees later, managed to reach the top. That was pretty fun. It's going up the hill, look up, a giant swarm of bees started coming down at me. So they chased me for a little while. Fortunately, I didn't get stung. But anyway, yeah, that's the worst of our climb out of the way today. I love it when we have our biggest climb first thing in the morning, because then you know you can take it easy the rest of the day. You don't have anything else to worry about. It looked like it was going to be a little rowdy at McIver Cabin, so we decided to go ahead and push on a little bit. Taking a bit of a gamble, because Guthook says there's no campgrounds between here and Walker Pass, so it's possible that this might wind up being like a 22-23 day. Well, we found several spots on our way past McIver Cabin last night, so we camped probably about 1.5 to 2 miles up the trail. We're on our way down to Walker Pass right now. Listening to the jets from Edwards Air Force Base. Been able to hear them for the last probably 3 or 4 days. It's kind of cool. Looks like mostly F-18s flying around. Kind of fun to play spot the jets. But then again, I am just a big kid, so I think that kind of stuff is cool. Been thinking about my resupply strategy for the Sierras. I've had this pack up to about 35 pounds, which is pretty much its weight limit, and it is not comfortable in the slightest. And the problem is, I'm going to be adding my bear vault, my crampons, and my whippet. It's going to get a little bit heavier, so I've been thinking about upping to the Atmos, because yeah, it might be another 2 pounds more than this pack, but it carries weight way better. The other thing is, I think I'm going to be carrying some more heavy-duty gear into the Sierras, because it's going to be colder. It sounds like it's pretty snowy up there. So I think I'm going to swap my tent for my tarp tent, and then change up some of my clothing, get a little bit heavier duty clothing, and then we'll just see how it works.